Okay, so to start off, here's everything I know about the Birds of Prey.
I got nothing.
And here's everything I know and have seen Harley Quinn in. With all that out of the way, that's my knowledge going into this movie of the Birds of Prey and Harley Quinn. So let's start talking about the Birds of Prey and the emancipation of that Harley Quinn movie. Hey everybody, and thanks for clicking on this video and checking out my channel. So I just got back from seeing the newest movie in the DCEU, Birds of Prey, directed by Cathy Yan, and is Margot Robbie's debut for her first solo, kind of, Harley Quinn movie. After Harley Quinn breaks up with her put-in Mr. J, she becomes fair game to all the lowlife in Gotham, and there's a lot of people who have a score to settle. Right off the bat, I'll admit it, I was one of those people that watched the trailers for Birds of Prey and went, yeah, that looks kind of dumb. That looks like it's kind of back in the DCEU era of Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman. You know, DC's been on a really hot streak so far with Shazam, Aquaman, Joker, Wonder Woman 1984 coming up looks really good. And Birds of Prey to me look like a movie that's going to break the streak. That's going to start us over again. But, to my surprise, no. Birds of Prey was actually pretty good. So let's start talking about it. So let's start off talking about the director, Cathy Yan, and what she brought to this movie. Because addressing the problems I had from the trailers, I didn't know what the vibe or tone of this movie was going for. It looked really weird, bizarre, and bonky. It looked like it was just going to be honestly, it looked like it was just going to be a mess. I didn't know what the heck this movie was going to be. And what Cathy Yan has delivered is a really fun, unique, quirky, and ultra-violent entry into the comic book movie genre. The movie has a real vibe that really reminded me of Deadpool 2. The way the movie is structured and the way that Cathy Yan tells the story, and even the way the Harley Quinn character is kind of reintroduced in this movie, feels very Deadpool to me. It felt very heavily inspired by the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool movies, which is not a knock to Birds of Prey or me saying that they're copying Deadpool. It was a formula that worked for Deadpool, and they used a very similar formula for this movie, and it works to the movie's benefit tremendously. The movie from start to finish just has a really fun, energetic vibe to it, and the action sequences that Cathy Yan captures in this movie are fantastic. They're all shot in camera. There's none of that crappy shaky cam happening. They look great. You can see everything happening, and they're riveting. They're exciting. They're a lot of fun. And the direction, choreography, and stunt work done in all these action scenes are all top-notch. I thought all of them were just great, and I loved every single one of them. So bouncing off of the direction, let's talk about some of the cast members, because we got Margot Robbie, once again, as Harley Quinn, coming in as her first feature solo. I'll talk more about that later. But Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad, that Suicide Squad movie that came out in 2016, was honestly, in my opinion, the shining light in that movie. She was the best part of that movie. I thought she stood out the most, her and Will Smith, but of the entire cast, she really did stand out the most, and now she has a whole movie to herself, and she was a side character in Suicide Squad, so how is that going to translate when she has to hold a movie all on her own? I honestly thought she did a really good job. I thought the Harley Quinn character was even better in this movie than she was in Suicide Squad, and I thought Margot Robbie killed it even more as Harley Quinn in this movie than she did in Suicide Squad. I'm not a huge Harley Quinn nut, like I mentioned before. That's what I know her from. But as I know Harley Quinn, I thought Margot Robbie did a really fantastic job delivering the Harley Quinn that I remember liking as a kid from the Batman animated series to this movie. And I just really enjoyed watching her. I thought she made the character that was a side character in Suicide Squad a really great and entertaining leading character in Birds of Prey. Another standout for me in this movie, Ewan McGregor as the villain Black Mask. Ewan McGregor plays a really despicable, evil villain in this movie. He does some really despicable things to some people. But through his performance, Ewan McGregor makes his character really charismatic, and he ended up being a character that I loved to hate. I didn't like him. I thought he was a horrible man. But the way Ewan McGregor played the performance and the fun that is so evidently happening on Ewan McGregor's face made me just love to hate that character. He was a really entertaining villain, and I thought Ewan McGregor was great in this movie as well. As far as a couple negatives or nitpicks that I have about the movie, let's talk about that title, Birds of Prey, and the overly long title for Harley Quinn. I honestly feel like this movie should have been called Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. The Birds of Prey characters in this movie, granted, I don't know anything about the Birds of Prey at all, but the Birds of Prey characters in this movie, kind of in the background in my opinion, and some of the Birds of Prey characters that get introduced feel very undeveloped, and they don't feel like they have enough screen time to really get you to be attached to them. All the actresses did a really great job that played the Birds of Prey, especially Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who plays Huntress. She was fantastic in the limited screen time that she had as this character, but I instantly wanted to learn more about her. But for the majority of the movie, it really is just focused on the character of Harley Quinn. And so for the leading title of this movie to be called Birds of Prey, I feel like it should have been called Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, just my personal opinion, because the Birds of Prey honestly were kind of secondary to Harley Quinn in this movie. And there was a lot of characters in this movie to a point that when a new character got kind of introduced later into the film, it kind of felt like it broke the pacing for me a little bit. I was really into like the flow of the movie, and then they'd have to go and tell this backstory, and I'd be like, oh, okay. And it just felt like the pacing got a little jumbled and mishandled there. But besides those two negative nitpicks, I had a really fun time with Birds of Prey. It is rated R, and it takes advantage of its R rating. There was some little kids in my theater for this. This is not really even a superhero movie. Don't take your kids to this. There really isn't really any super beings in this movie. This just felt like an action movie. Like, it didn't really feel like anyone in this movie had superpowers. It just felt like a bunch of people kicking butt, and it was really awesome to watch. But it is really violent. There's some gruesome stuff that happens in this movie. Don't take the little ones to this. And I also want to give a shout out to the soundtrack that they chose for this movie, because I felt the soundtrack in this movie was greatly used. Each song that they introduce into the sequence fits the context of what's happening in the scene, as well as I felt elevated what was happening in the scene to make it even better. So to whoever chose the songs for the soundtrack, kudos to you. I thought it was a great choice. Yeah, color me shocked on this one. I did not think this movie looked very good at all, and I ended up walking out of this movie really liking it, to be honest. It's quirky, it's fun, it's violent, and it's got a real style to it. It feels like someone's vision. You can feel the passion being put into this project by Margot Robbie and the director Kathy Yan and everyone that worked behind the scenes on this movie. They wanted to make something really good. They had a passion for what they were making. It comes across on the screen. I felt it. I really enjoyed it. If you're a DC fan and if you really love the Birds of Prey, I don't know if I can say that it'll be represented the way that you want them to, but I can't see a DC fan not liking this movie. It has the darkness and violence that DC fans want. It's a really fun time. Don't sleep on it. Go see it. Anyway, guys, those are all my thoughts and opinions on the newest DCEU movie, Birds of Prey. But what did you guys think of Birds of Prey? I want to hear from you guys and all your thoughts and opinions. Comment down below. Let me know. And I'd love to get a conversation started with you. And as always, guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video and checking out my channel. Until the next movie, my name's Zachary Milne. Thank you for talking movies with me, and hope you have yourself a great day.